Hi everybody, Lucius here again. Um, I just wanted to make a quick video. Um, actually, before I talk about the video, um, it's been really hot here in my room, and so um, I had this fan. Well, I thought it was a fan, but it's it's one of those old time toys that just it's not a fan because it doesn't you have to blow on it and It's it's what they used to call a pin, or they still do call a pinwheel. So, although it didn't cool me off, it was fun. I had some fun, and as I was playing with the pinwheel, having fun, trying to stay cool, uh, I got thinking about the movie that's coming out, a Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, or Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. Now it's funny because it it's not it doesn't it's not VS like versus, it's just V, which is used in like a court of law, like a law case. Like um if someone were to sue me for like looking in their window or something, it would be Mrs. Johnson v. Lucius. And um, so it's interesting, I think, because it's kind of like more, it's not necessarily like a physical battle as it is like almost like a moral battle, like a court case, I guess. But anyway, um, I was thinking about the movie and I was like, it's not really a sequel to Man of Steel, uh, but it's set kind of, it's at obviously afterwards, and it's pretty cool because it's the first time, well, it's the second time I think that they've ever had Superman and Batman together in live action. The first time was in the 1970s. I think probably 1970, 76 or something like that. It was for like a Saturday morning preview show, and they had a Batman and Superman there in live actors doing it for like to promote Super Friends. And the Batman, the actor playing Batman, was dressed like Adam West from the Adam West show, the Batman show from the 60s. And Superman was kind of like George Reeves from the 50s, but he was played by game show host Chuck Woolery. So I thought that's pretty interesting. I think that's the first time they ever had Superman and Batman together in live action. That is, because they've been together in the comics and stuff for a while. But so Man of Steel was okay. I wish it had been in color because it was kind of like black and white almost. There was like no color to it, and it was kind of depressing. And I was like, it wasn't really fun. And I thought that Superman should be more fun. Have him do fun stuff like maybe save a penguin or something. But it was still good. I liked the actor playing Superman, Henry Cavill, and I wasn't sure about the them having Ben Affleck as Batman, but he seems okay in what I've seen of him. He seems pretty good. But I was still kind of like, why are they fighting? And they took a lot of inspiration from Frank Miller's graphic novel comic book, Dark Knight Returns, where Batman's like really old. He's like in his 60s, and like Superman works for the government. He's like a tool of the government, and that comic book, that story is like a big deal. But I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't like the story at all because I thought it was too gritty, too. It wasn't fun. It made Batman kind of just like a monster, not like a hero. And it was like kind of like I didn't like all the political stuff. It's kind of like I liked Watchmen. That was a good graphic novel, but a comic book, and I didn't really like Dark Knight Returns. But I think maybe the reason people seem to like it so much is like such a big deal is because characters at that point were still kind of silly. So it made it like more serious. Even though I didn't like the story, I appreciated that it made it a lot. It was more serious, darker in tone and everything. Then it got a little too far where everybody was all dark and gritty and everybody was mean. And I was a little concerned that that's what they were doing with Superman, trying to because DC Comics is trying to do their own uh like comic book movie universe like Marvel has done with all their movies. Only now it's kind of like they did Man of Steel. So now they're trying to put everything in there, and they're gonna have Wonder Woman in there, and Aquaman, and Cyborg, and Lex Luthor, and like everybody. And so it's kind of like that was the thing. It's like I even was like, they're trying to beat Marvel and have like a shared universe like Marvel. And that's what everybody was saying. And I think I just said it too. See, that's how it's weird because it's like everybody gives Marvel credit for being the first ones to have like the shared universe where things crossed over. But then I got thinking, well, I think it was actually DC that did that outside of comic books first because they first had Superman and Batman in the comics meet, and that's kind of how you knew that, oh, they're in the same universe. But they also did it with, like, in the 90s, they had the Batman animated series, and then when that was a huge hit, later on they had a Superman cartoon by Warner Brothers too, and they crossed those over. So those two cartoons crossed over, and then from there, years later, they had the Justice League cartoon, and it kept the same characters and continuity, which would mean that it was known as the DC Animated Universe. So that was kind of the beginning, and only Marvel, who couldn't really do a decent movie, I think their first one was like Blade, everything else was a mess. They failed on everything. DC had done Superman and Batman and stuff, so they were big successes, but Marvel hadn't had one. But it was cool that Marvel was able to finally do something really good in the movies. And now DC's trying to catch up to them. But I hope it's not too gritty. Because I was like, I don't really want to see Batman and Superman fight. I don't know why, but I don't want to see that. I like to see them team up against somebody, but which I'm sure they probably will. And I know that they're doing like the Suicide Squad, where all these villains are forced, I guess, to do suicide missions to fight crime and stuff. And like the Joker, Jay Leno, Jared Leno, Jay Jay Jared Leno, Jared Jared Leto is playing the Joker, and they released a picture of him, and everybody was like, "Oh, it looks really bad" and stuff. It's like when they released the Wonder Woman picture. It's like she looks like Xena, and she's all brown, and her costume is brown. I'm like, well, first of all, the costumes are not. That wasn't in color. It was sepia tone, so it was all brown. But the costume really is red and blue, so it looks like Wonder Woman. I've seen the costume pictures of the costume. And the Jared Leto, he was that picture was I first of all, I've heard since that that's not what he really looks like. That he's gonna look a little different, like maybe scars and stuff and different things. But I was like, well, first of all, I think that you see it in bright light, which is really weird, because I don't think you're gonna see the Joker. If you looked at the trailer for Super Batman vs Superman, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, you'll see there it is dark, which I don't really like. I like to see like some light stuff too, but I don't think you're gonna see Joker in bright light like that. So it will probably look a lot better. But anyway, like I said, I don't want to see him fight. I don't like everybody to be mad at Superman because Superman is as far as I'm concerned, he's the first superhero. It's like every superhero owes the name superhero comes from Superman. So he's the first. So you gotta treat him with more respect than Frank Miller did in Dark Knight Returns and everything he's written. It's like when people say that Batman can beat up Superman, it's like you gotta be honest about it, because I think that I think Superman would pretty much kill him right away. So anyway, I still want to see the movie because I think they're going to do some interesting things. At first, I wasn't sure, but now I think it's going to be interesting. And I'm really rooting for DC to really get their stuff together. I'm excited to see Aquaman. Aquaman looks pretty good, and Wonder Woman. And I think they should just embrace the Super Friends thing and just be like, yeah, we're the Super Friends. We're not pals, but we're the characters that most people remember from the cartoons. Only we're going to be like an adult version, not like a porno, like adult movie thing, but like a grown-up version of these characters, like treated realistically as much as you can. I mean, they're fantasy heroes, so I don't know. But anyway, I hope it turns out okay, and I hope that you go see it and give them like support, because I think it'll be a really good movie. Anyway, that's all. I'm going to try to keep cool with my pinwheel, even though I know it's impossible, because I've been working up a sweat getting it to spin around. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on Batman and Batman v Superman. So anyway, just want to make a quick video about it, and I guess I did. So I'll get back to my pinwheel. Talk to you later, everybody.